Either Labour MPs agree with this agenda, in which case, why are they trying to get rid of the Prime Minister? Or they don't agree with this agenda, in which case, what on earth are we all doing here? Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. There is plenty more coming, because we are legislators of the United Kingdom. We were sent here to fix difficult things, not focus on our personal hobby horses.
Stay with me, because the full video I'm about to show you puts everything into a new perspective. Right, so picture the scene. Parliament is in session. The country is in a mood. Ministers are apparently handing in their resignation letters like they're collecting Pokemon cards. And into this magnificent circus steps Emily Thornberry, ready to deliver what she clearly believed would be a moment of searing political clarity. What actually happened was something altogether more entertaining, because if British politics has given us anything reliable over the years, it is the absolute certainty that whenever someone stands up in the chamber to lecture everyone else about being out of touch, they will almost immediately demonstrate that they are, in fact, supremely, magnificently, cosmically out of touch. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a case study. Let's set the stage properly, because context is everything here. The government is rolling out its programme, its big, bold agenda for the nation, while simultaneously members of the Prime Minister's own party are reportedly sharpening their elbows and muttering darkly in corridors. Now, to any reasonable observer, this creates a rather obvious logical puzzle. If Labour MPs agree with the agenda, why are some of them apparently trying to defenestrate the man delivering it? And if they don't agree with the agenda, then what on earth is everyone standing around pretending they do? It's a bit like a group of people ordering a pizza, arguing loudly about whether anyone actually wants pizza, and then sitting down to eat the pizza while insisting everything is fine. The pizza, in this metaphor, is government policy. The arguing is, well, everything else. Real quick, before we roll the footage, if you're enjoying this content, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and smash subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. Don't be one of them. It's free for you, and it helps us out more than you know. Already clicked? You're awesome. Let's get into the video.
It is absolutely preposterous that the government is here laying out a programme as its ministers are resigning, and a large proportion of the party is saying that the Prime Minister needs to go. The whole thing is totally illogical. Either Labour MPs agree with this agenda, in which case, why are they trying to get rid of the Prime Minister? Or they don't agree with this agenda, in which case, what on earth are we all doing here? It is time to be brutally honest, Mr. Speaker. It is time to be brutally honest. The country is angry with the entire political class. All of us here. They are not happy with how we have been doing politics. It is time to get serious. I will give way. I will give way.
The Right Honourable Lady seeks to lecture us on why it is that everyone is so fed up with the political class, but uses this opportunity not to lay out what the Conservatives would do, but to spend her time insulting everybody on this side. Surely that's not the way to proceed.
Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. There is plenty more coming. There is plenty more coming. And the Honourable Lady says she's getting a lecture. She is getting a lecture. She is getting a lecture. We're all getting a lecture, because we are legislators of the United Kingdom. We were sent here to fix difficult things, not focus on our personal hobby horses, ranging from the petty to the puerile. I would say to members opposite, you don't need to be scared of the member for Clacton. I'm not. He is not the cause of Britain's problems. He is a symptom. No. He is. They are still, Mr. Speaker, they are still delusional. He is a symptom of the failure of the political class to focus on what matters. If you fix the problems that people care about, he goes away.
Enter the Conservatives, who, to be entirely fair, are not exactly in a position to be throwing stones from their particular glass house. But into this moment of Labour internal turbulence steps a Conservative voice, seizing the opportunity to point out that the country is, to use the technical political term, absolutely furious. Not just with Labour, not just with the current government, but with the entire political class. All of them, the lot, everyone sitting in those green benches, regardless of rosette colour. And honestly, that framing is not wrong. There is a very real and very widespread sense across the country that Westminster has become a kind of elaborate performance that everyone is expected to applaud regardless of whether it bears any relationship to the actual lives people are living. The frustration is genuine. The anger is genuine. The sense that politicians are more focused on their own internal drama than on solving anything, genuinely, stubbornly real. But here is where it gets interesting, because Emily Thornberry is not going to let this go unanswered. She rises to intervene, as is her right, and delivers what she clearly intends as a devastating rebuke. She asks, quite pointedly, why, if the Conservatives are so concerned about public frustration, they haven't bothered to say what they would do differently. It's a fair question, actually, a genuinely fair question. If you're going to stand up and say the country is angry and you lot are useless, the natural follow-up is, right, so what's your plan then? That is a reasonable political challenge to issue. The problem, and this is where the whole thing tips from debate into theatre, is that the response to her intervention does not really address that question either. Instead, it pivots into a rather extraordinary extended riff about lecturers, legislators, and the general pettiness of the political hobby horses on display. The chamber at this point is getting lively. There are interruptions. There is the delicious parliamentary phrase, "I'm not done yet," delivered with the energy of someone who has been waiting quite a long time to say exactly that. There is, in short, the controlled chaos that makes Prime Minister's questions look like a particularly competitive book club. And woven through all of this is a name that has become something of a lightning rod in recent British political conversation, Nigel Farage, or rather the member for Claxton as he is referred to in the chamber, because Parliament has its own way of not quite saying the thing it is saying while absolutely saying it. The argument being made is a striking one and worth sitting with for a moment because it is actually more interesting than the fireworks around it. The suggestion is that Farage is not the cause of Britain's problems, he is a symptom. He is the product of a political class that stopped focusing on what ordinary people actually care about. The logic being, fix the real problems, address the genuine grievances, deliver something tangible, and the appetite for the kind of politics that Farage represents simply shrinks. Don't fix those things, and he grows. It's not a complicated theory. It is, in fact, a theory that quite a lot of people across the political spectrum would privately agree with, even if they would never say it quite so bluntly. But here's the delicious irony at the heart of all of this, the thing that makes today's exchange so perfectly, painfully representative of British politics in 2024. Everyone in that chamber is making the same basic argument. Everyone is saying the public is fed up. Everyone is saying the political class has failed. Everyone is saying it's time to get serious and focus on what matters. And they are making these arguments at each other in a chamber full of people who have been in or near power for years, surrounded by the accumulated evidence of precisely the failure they are all denouncing. It is like watching a group of people standing in a flooded kitchen, each pointing at the others and asking why nobody fixed the leak. Emily Thornberry did not, in fairness, say anything factually wrong. Keir Starmer is facing internal pressures. That is documented. The public is frustrated. That is documented. The Conservatives, having been in government for 14 years, do carry some responsibility for the state of things. That is, to put it gently, a defensible position. But what made the moment land the way it did, what gave the whole exchange its peculiar energy, was the gap between the seriousness of the rhetoric and the theatre of the delivery. It is time to be brutally honest, someone says, and then everyone proceeds to be anything but, because brutal honesty in Parliament is a bit like a fire alarm in a library, technically available, rarely deployed, and when it does go off, everyone looks mildly annoyed rather than actually alarmed. The member for Claxton, meanwhile, sits there, a symptom, apparently, still, watching, as Westminster argues about Westminster in the way that Westminster does, and the country watches too. From the outside, increasingly convinced that the most honest thing anyone could say in that chamber is the thing nobody seems quite willing to say. that the gap between the language of politics and the reality of people's lives has become so wide that no amount of lecturing, from any direction, is going to bridge it on its own. What might bridge it is rather more boring and rather more difficult than a good parliamentary moment. It involves actually doing things, unglamorous, painstaking, difficult things, the sort of things that don't make for great clips, the sort of things that don't go viral, which is perhaps why we're here, watching the clips instead.